Thank you, you may be seated. And at this time, I would like to ask that anyone that has an electronic device, please silence or turn that off, so we have that interruption during the meeting, and I thank you for that. First will be public input. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on any item that is not a regularly scheduled item on the agenda? There is not. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on an item that is on the consent agenda? There is not. Then we will move on to the consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, July 2nd, 2024. Item B, contract, Public Works Department, reversed auction services, eBridge Business Solutions. Those are the two items on the consent agenda. Directors, would you like to have anything removed for separate consideration? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Long.
Yeah.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Bristler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes. Motion is approved. Next, we will move on to our ordinances. Ordinance 24-18, third reading, amending City Municipal Code, Chapter 6, alcoholic beverages, neighboring properties exception. And Megan, are you the presenter for this?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Megan Thomas, Planner 1. As she said, this is the third reading to amend Chapter 6, the Alcoholic Beverages Code, just to allow for a neighboring properties exception for churches. There have been no changes since the last reading, and staff is available for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Directors, any comments or questions? If there is not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-18? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-18 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Long.
No.
Bristler.
Yes. Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-18, an ordinance amending Chapter 6, alcoholic beverages of the Municipal Code with respect to spacing requirements from places of worship.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-18? Motion, do I have a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Hunt.
Yes.
Bristler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Long.
No.
Wiles.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes. Ordinance 24-18 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-19, second and third readings, directors, is requested for annexation of 9.89 acres, 700 block of West Pittsfield Street. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board. As the mayor stated, this is the annexation of 9.89 acres as part of the Brook subdivision. We've not received any additional movements since last reading. Staff has recommended some conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Directors, comments or questions for this ordinance? Yes.
I'm the one that asked to table this for information. I believe my answers have been, my questions have been answered. I am also requested to do second and third because it was my fault, the time delay, so I'm trying to help. Or they should not pay financially if it was just simply in.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-19? Being none, I would ask that we place, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-19 on its second and third reading by title only? Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes. Long,
Yes.
Hunt, Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Wiles.
Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-19, accepting the annexation of certain territory described as 700 block of West Pittsfield Street to the city of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and assigning same to a court.
Thank you. Directors, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-19?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Blair,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Allen.
Ordinance 24-19 is adopted. Next, ordinance 24-20, third reading, 2024 annexation election. Ben?
Yes, thank you. So this is the third and final reading for the 2024 annexation election. Putting this to the voters for the general election. We've not received any additional comments since the second reading, and we are available to get questions. Thank you.
Directors, some questions? If not, is there anyone in the audience that has any comments or questions for 24-20? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name and your address.
Junior McClellan, 3017 North High Coast. My concern is I know when this all goes through, it's gonna raise our taxes and all that stuff. I just recently, they said one of the reasons we need to do this is because we need to keep our utilities and all that kind of stuff down. But I just got my utility bill and sanitation just went up 51%. That is a monster jump. It's not like a small one. So there we're already, if we get annexed in, I know it's not gonna go down anymore. And then just yesterday, I did get my tax statement from the county, and our taxes are going up 5% already. Now, if we get annexed in, you can bump that 5% on with what we had, then add another 10.1% on top of that. That's already a lot of money, especially if you have anything out there. And everybody has a share of this property that they're annex in. So my main thing is I know one of the board members has asked about, he wanted to know what they were offering to people. That's something that we've been asking them ever since they wanted to do this, and still have never gotten a real answer. We're working on it, we're going to get one. It isn't anything in the near future, and then I've heard many people, even on the board, say this sounds like a land grab, but nobody's ever said anything about a land grab except for some of the people on there. So it's almost like it's way in your mind, because that's what it feels like, is land grab. And I don't understand what the big hurry is to get this going if you don't even have what you need in order to get this thing situated to present to the people. I know out on Davidson Road, they're working on that. My understanding, it's came to a halt because a couple of reasons. One, if it does get annexed in, the city's going to be ending up taking over some of the work that's going to happen down and that the county was going to take care of. Now, the city is going to inherit a big bill on trying to take care of that. Then they can't even get the electric poles out of the road, and it's dangerous down there. There's a lot of people go through there, and there's nothing up there to show that there's a pole, two poles in the middle of the road with crazy drivers and people out there. So somebody's going to end up getting hurt, killed down those roads, and who knows when they're going to get back to working on that road, to get that dangerous situation taken care of. But from my understanding, there is nobody that is in this annexation that wants the annexation. It's just the city needs to expand right now, which I just noticed that you did annex 9 point something acres without having to annex this part. So how come we have to do these separate and we can't just do this as we go along to grow? Because it sounds like it's going to be a big deal for the city if they do annex it all. And it sounds like it's coming out of the pocket of all the people, and that's just taxes after taxes after taxes, just more taxes. And it just makes it very hard to be able to stay living where you are, especially when you get to the age that you can retire and you're gonna have to have a job just to take care of the taxes. Pretty ridiculous already. I just try to think of what it's going to be like when I would like to retire, because I'll need more years before I could. But at this rate, it's be another 5 or more years if I'd like, to be able to retire. Just concerned about all that stuff. Neighbors that are concerned about it all around us, but I just, I don't know if any of y'all have even driven out by where the Davidson Road is, to know where Davidson is, to what it looks like, or to see what the county looks like. I do a lot of work for a lot of people around this town, and I noticed that the planners are saying it make it easier for our fire departments to get around, it make it easier for our police departments to get around because they'll know where they're going. Well, I actually spoke to some of those guys, and they were pretty offended of what they said about that, because they actually have paperwork. They give them guys a map of the city, of all the roads, and they have no names on it. They have to name every single road that's in this town. They have to know that. If they don't, and if they screw up 3 times, they're out of a job. But those guys know where they're going. They know where it's at. They know what to say, and they know how to get there. And, I don't see how that's going to speed any of this stuff up. I'm just speaking for all the people that's out there. I know a lot of these people can't make it in. A lot of them feel like it's a no-win situation. That's why they've all pretty much kind of given up, and hope that we can go through this and let the public know exactly how we feel and how they, what they're dealing with. I mean, I'm not saying don't annex. I'm saying get everything in a row before you try to adopt this and try to do this. Get all these numbers, get all these answers for everybody. Let everybody know what they want. Because we've been asking them since it started, since that very first meeting. I've only missed 1 meeting since then. But we've asked multiple times, but still no answers on it. So we'd like to know what we are going to get out of this for being able to city to do that. I just hope y'all, just kind of consider that and think about that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Junior. Is there anyone else? If not, directors, I will come back to you.
And Mayor?
Yeah, yes, please, ma'am. Go ahead. Yes. Oh. Is our IT person back there?
The video isn't working to the public.
Jake, is he aware of that? Taking, okay, thank you. All right. Go ahead.
Can staff answer, so, I don't see Jason here, so I'll just disconnect. He mentioned that his sanitation went in. If they were to be annexed in, would that go back down? Because I know we had an increase for the outside city limits.
We had an increase for dumpsters.
Junior, do you have a dumpster?
Yes, I do.
So would that go back down if he is in city?
I don't think it would go back to what it was. I think if there's an inside and outside city limit rates for the dumpsters, he would
Go down to the
it would go
inside.
down to the inside city limit.
And Junior, I appreciate you getting up and speaking, because it is hard to come to these meetings and speak, and my heart is with you, because I do drive down Davison, because I have friends that live on Davison Road, and so I drive down that road. I have driven down quite a bit, and I do, my heart goes out to you, and we have citizens on both sides saying, you know, we want it, and then we have some saying we don't want it. And we really have to be careful to balance that voice for the people. So instead of us taking the power away from the people, I think most of us believe that we want to give them the chance to vote at the ballot. And so it's not an attack on you, I promise. It's not a personal attack on you. It's, we do have to answer to a large group of people, and we have to be able to balance giving people that voice.
I understand that. I'm just concerned too about how much money this is all going to cost to do this annexation, to get in there, and it's going to cost the city a lot of money. I ride bicycles a lot on the trail, and you start out down at the old Allen's Candy Company and you go to the ballpark. I've noticed they have planted trees, tons of beautiful trees down through there. There's probably 50 or more trees they planted there. And that's money wasted because there's only about 5 of them that's still alive. They're all dead. Nobody's taking care of them. Nobody's watering. You have to water this stuff. It's unreal. The things that are just, that get started and it's a good thing, but nobody takes care of it. It's just like, they come down our streets, and I'll ride bikes even out by the hospital. And when you go along the sidewalk, instead of going up and trimming this stuff and trimming the edges of the sidewalk, they ride on a cart and they spray grass killer. And the grass is dead 3 foot back. This looks horrible. And it's not just there, it's up Hico, it's around. They come and spray between my place and the water tower to keep that kind of stuff in. But they killed out multiple things I planted in there. Now I have some really high-dollar trees in there, and I've noticed it's dead in there. I'm hoping it don't kill my trees. That's impossible.
I'm sorry, but this conversation, we need to stay focused on the
Right.
annexation.
But just saying that, that's just money spent. That's
Sure. Thank you.
And if we get other things in there, are they going to take care of it? They're going to move forward and do the things they say they're going to do.
Yes, thank you. Yes, David.
Junior, I will tell you, you can let other residents know that they will be able to vote as well as the citizens in the city limits. Because that has been a false rumor going around that the people in the future annexation area do not get vote. That is false. The voters that do get to vote this annexation up or down are every registered voter within the city limits and every registered voter within the annexation area. So make sure people know that they do get a say on this, that they do get to vote on this.
I may be wrong on this. I think one of the things you were asking was what this was gonna cost. And I thought we did have some information about that, at either the last meeting or the meeting before. We had asked for, an approximation on how much this was gonna cost and then how long it would take for there to be a return on that investment. So we did get some information about that. Was it the last meeting or the meeting before?
Can you answer that for us?
It was the second reading. PowerPoint slide that showed the costs. I can bring that up again if you want.
Well, that might be helpful since you did have those questions, or am I misunderstanding what your question was?
The dollar figure was only to do with buying out Carol. That's the only
Yeah,
figure was.
it's the Carroll deals, all that they brought up. But the cost of getting sewer or getting, water or different things like that out to the people and different things like that. And the timeline and stuff like that, there's no timeline.
If you, they told us that
Yeah.
it's a process. You know, what you're gonna have to do and getting it on in the agenda, or not in the agenda, but in the budget. And so they have all of that in mind as things develop out there, so it's hard to give a real hard figure until we are moving forward and see kind of where the development's going. But we've actually
Give us some.
but yes, it did, it gave us an idea. And perhaps, Ben, you could share that with Mr. McCollum, not tonight, you could get him a copy of those figures, could you do that? And make sure that he has that, because they did give us a slide presentation that has those numbers, and, we'll have staff get that to you, so you have that, and then you can share that with your neighbors also. Would that work? Perfect, thank you, Junior. Anyone else? Yes.
Junior, I need to tell you, I appreciate you coming to the big meeting that was right here. You were a participant, and I appreciate you taking the invitation and voicing your concerns. I thought it was important that you give your point. I'm going to echo Director Rissler in saying that I am voting on this positively in order to give the people a vote. I am voting to take this to the people. Does not mean that I am supporting of this, and I've said several times that I believe there is a different, better way to be doing annexation than to do such a large piece, especially when we are not taking in some areas that are already developed and already should be in the city limits. So I'm voting yes for one reason, and that is to allow the public to have a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, I echo that too, and I appreciate, the way you put that.
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-20 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Miles,
Yes.
Long.
Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-20, an ordinance submitting to the voters of the city of Siloam Springs and other affected persons the question of annexation of certain contiguous territory for the purpose of responsible growth, improved transportation networks, and utility cost control.
Thank you. Directors, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 24-20?
To adopt.
To adopt, I'm sorry, thank you. Thank you, thank you. We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Miles. Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-20 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-21, third and final reading, Electric Department Agricultural Interruptible Rate. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board, Bill Stokes, Electric Director. There has been no changes since first and second reading of this agriculture interruptible rate. Ask you to approve this reading and available for any questions.
Thank you, Bill. Directors? Yes, Lisa.
Bill asked the question. Because I know the people that are involved and when we first initiated this, have you heard anything from any of them?
Is there anyone else, directors? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-21? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-21 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-21, an ordinance amending section 98-58 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code to establish the agricultural interruptible rate, AIR, for the Siloam Springs Electric Department and for other purposes.
Directors, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 24-21?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Miles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 24-21 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-23, second reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from I-1 to PD 2200 Highway 16. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant desired to rezone 2200 Highway 16, consisting of 5.96 acres from one district industrial to PD district plan development, as well as to amend the previously approved plan development for lot 1 of the SOP 16 edition. Additionally, they are requesting to amend the future land use designation of the rezone area from industrial to neighborhoods 3. The Planning Commission did review the rezoning application at the June 11th, 2024 regular meeting. There were no comments from the public, and the Planning Commission, with one member absent, recommended approval of the rezoning permit by a 6-0 vote with no abstentions. Staff will stand for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Directors, comments or questions? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like, I'm sorry. Yes, come on.
I'm gonna state again, my reason I'm gonna vote no is based on the road that comes out to Highway 59 and 16. I believe the city's not prepared to spend the $2 or $3 or $4 million it will take to make that work. I know it's somewhere in some plan floating out there somewhere, but it's not really.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor.
Yes. Betsy.
And I will repeat, I am not for losing more industrial or amending city code to put more housing.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Lisa.
Is this the one that Kevin got up and spoke about?
Yes.
The audience knows. Can you explain what Kevin got up and spoke about, please?
Well, the place again.
Well, Kevin Williams is the one that got up and spoke. Kevin.
Kevin Moore, city engineer. So the point that Commissioner Williams drew our attention to last meeting was that the developer is proposing an off-site improvement to continue to the west instead of just along the northern frontage of their property. They're continuing that west all the way to Waukesha. And that was at the recommendation of staff as well, that they include that to offset the traffic onto Highway 16.
Kevin. Anyone else? Mindy?
I think that is something that we as a board requested at one time as well, that we could do something like that, so.
One of the points he made was the fact that this was an expense city was going to bear at one time and considered, and the developer is taking on part of that expense by doing this. So that would reduce the cost to the citizens of continuing that improvement. Is that right?
That's correct. This would be at no cost to the city.
The whole road.
Correct. To the section that they're proposing from Waukesha to 16 would be at no cost to the city.
Yes, David.
I think Kevin said it was possibly $1 million to do that. My question is, why would the developer spend $1 million to put in housing. Why would anyone spend extra money to put in a road to the tune of $1 million when it's certainly not their responsibility and they are offering to do it, and it's kind of hard to say no. But the question is why? I got a little confused from Director Long saying that the city had planned to do it to the tune of 3 to 4 million. What are you referring to? I got lost there.
When Waukesha curves, they're coming out straight from there to the Highway 59 in front of it. I think it's Simmons, used to be Sirocco, Renrex. That road is awful. It's horrible. It can't take it. It can't take it.
Oh, you're saying it cannot take more traffic.
Right. Because that's where the people are gonna go, because if they go that way, they can skip the light. They'll go that way and go to the bridge, and be able to get on the highway and all that. It eliminate them going out on Kenwood and cause them to start going, it's just an enormous amount of traffic, I believe, that will occur. And yes, the space from Highway 16 to Waukesha will be nice, but the rest will be horrible.
Yes, Chris.
Yes, I just would just like to remind the board, we did talk about how that portion is already on the list to have improvements to be made. And whenever we increase the use of an area, I'm going to try to answer two questions at once here. Whenever we make the connection, we'll be improving connectivity to that area. That's part of what the developer agreed to do as part of their exactions. Since they're having an impact and having the driveway to the north, they agreed to or expand the road to the north. So since the need is based off of their development, they have agreed to build that portion. That's somewhat of an exchange for the developer. So what we also look at is, since that need will produce additional traffic, those are excellent concerns and conversation that board member had. But that does rearrange where additional traffic in an area, will rearrange where that possibly could be seated in our list for those improvements. Right now, it's already on the list, but if there's a larger demand for that improvement at that point, then it would probably move higher onto the list.
That would come to the board for approval, is that correct?
That's correct. It would be proposed in the future budget.
And then
Yes, indeed.
one other thing I know we've had concerns about before is all the traffic going on to 16 from those two developments, because there's so much traffic on 16 already. So when we, as a board, sort of directed this developer to help us get on the road going the opposite way, going west, that was to help reduce some of that 16. I've had a lot of people tell me over the years about their concerns with the extra traffic on 16.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's only 2 lanes.
Thank you, David. Yes.
Is there, the people that are doing this, is there an engineer or a representative to answer from their perspective?
Yeah.
Would you like to come to the podium and give us your name? Position? Company?
My name is Aaron Harris. And, I am part of the development team and the engineer of record for this project, and appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I'm happy to clarify a few of this issue. First of all, you're familiar with your process. We met with, and had dialogue with all of the departments through the planning staff. And this project involved only approximately 9.5 acres in the prior development. And the landowner / developer determined, after all of that was done and the ordinance was passed and the project was approved and the plans were prepared and the project was sent to the lender, that the project was not financially feasible, which of course is the bottom line. So the project sat, and we happened to meet with the developer, and so the universe brought us together. And so our proposal to him was to expand his property, which he already owned, to expand the scope from 9.5 acres to approximately 16 acres. Increase the number of units, but which also decreased the density of the development. But of course, it made it a different project. And so through some mechanics and through increasing the size of the project, we were able to determine that the project would be financially feasible along with the landowner. And because of that reason, we agreed to, at the staff's request, to widen and improve that portion of the road to our north from 16 to Waukesha. And it's not a $3 million project or a $4 million project or, or anything like that. It is an expensive project, but we agreed to do it in consideration of our request, period, the end. So why does a developer do that? And it's to get something going. And we believed that it was, and through the give and take of that, it was a reasonable exchange for us. And so that's why we agreed to do it. Now, obviously we have a responsibility to build the road. We can't just promise to build the road. We have to build the road. And I'm sure there are 50 catches along the way. So it's not like we can just say we're going to build a road. We have to plan it. We have sewer that has to go that direction. We have other physical improvements that have to be made. So we have other reasons why we want to improve that road. Because we don't want traffic problems either. But yes, that road for us was at the experts on your staff's request to route that traffic from 16 or some of it, portion of it, back to Waukesha as part of a big master plan that the city has. And so that's what we agreed to, and that's what we're planning to do, subject to your approval of our project. So in a nutshell, that's this issue, and we're not asking the city to pay for it, and we're not asking the public to pay for it. We've agreed to pay for that portion of the road. And I hope that answers all the questions that you have pertaining to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate that. So, Director, any other questions? Remembering that we're talking about the rezoning, not the actual development. We are talking about the rezoning of this property.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
Looking at the overhead map, was it from the last meeting, my memory serves, it's from the intersection of Waukesha and Quarter Road. It would be extending Quarter Road all the way east to 16. Is that correct?
That is correct. So I have a presentation slide.
Yeah, that's the
here
picture
showing
I'm
it.
on right there.
Yeah, so this here on the left is where Porter Road turns down into Waukesha. So the improvement would be from that intersection all the way to the intersection of what's currently Keck Road at 16.
At the expense of the developer.
Correct.
That's not gonna at all be the city's responsibility.
Correct.
That's quite a big distance. That would definitely relieve some pressure on 16.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to ordinance 24-23? If not, so directors, you have no other questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to place ordinance 24-23 on its second reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Wrestler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Blair.
No.
Long,
No.
Miles.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-23, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, City Zoning Map, rezoning from I-1 to PD, property located at 2200 Highway 16, and amending the future land use map of the Siloam Springs 2040 comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for your information. Next is ordinance 24-24, first reading, amending section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, zoning annexation election territory to A1 agriculture. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. As you all know, I presented this at the pre-agenda meeting, but just as a reminder, what this is a housekeeping measure to just sign zoning to the annexation that the board just looked at for the election. So should the election be approved, the passage of this ordinance would allow that land to come in as A1 agricultural, which is the best fit for the majority of the area, and come back eventually at a later date to rezone individual properties at need basis. With that, staff and planning commission are recommending approval, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Directors, comments or questions? Yes, Lisa.
So I have found, people have called me and they ask me questions that I've asked during pre-agenda, because a lot of times people don't have time to watch the pre-agenda and then watch this meeting. So a lot of times they just watch this meeting. So I'm gonna ask again, Ben, is that a long drawn out process, or is that pretty quickly that you will rezone once, because we have businesses out there, we have other areas that are gonna be more residential and agriculture and stuff like that. So that's not like a 10-year project, it's a matter of months.
It would be a matter of months. I can't say right away, but probably in spring of next year, I would imagine.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, David.
Ben, I just wanted to make it for the record what you had stated in your memo, that if we did not do this tonight, it would all come in under R2, correct? That's correct. And of course, that's not going to apply to everyone either. So this seems to be the simpler, easier way to go back to basically the most basic zoning possible and take it a stair step at a time for each owner. Is there fees involved to change to A1 to R1 or R2, or will it be a process that costs money to the people? That's what I'm asking.
That's a good question. If it's a city initiated ordinance, we wouldn't assess fees to landowners. However, if a landowner on their core would come to us desiring a rezone, they would proceed through the typical rezoning application process that we currently have in place.
I'm just saying, if we're changing what normally would be under the city code, which would put all of it at R2, and we're changing it all to R1 with this ordinance here, then when Tom, Dick, or Sally want to come and change theirs to different zoning, that will be the first effort from the public to zone something that has been brought into the city limits, whether of their desire or not, which they would not necessarily have to do if they were in the county. I guess they would, but it would be through the county. But they would still have to go through the normal procedure of going from this A1 to whatever they decide.
It's going to go to the planning commission.
Yes,
Hey,
Mark.
Ben, at the pre-agenda meeting, you stated, just put it on record, that you stated everyone is grandfathered. If they're running a business, it's grandfathered.
Yeah.
Right? I just want everybody to know.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Chris.
Chris Paxton, Community Development Director. I just wanted to say they're grandfathered, but those are for the land uses. For example, if you have a business at a location that's going to be on A1, then you would be able to continue to operate that business. As it's currently operated, there are certain other things that you could do on the land that may not pertain to, but for the land use consideration, yes, that's correct.
What about the people that have R1 now with the county? Is it gonna convert to A1 for them? That was the point I was trying to ask. Oh, they don't have
They
it.
don't have zoning.
Okay.
So, to make sure I'm clear, and also, there are still glitches in the video and in fact to the point where citizens said there's no point in watching, just FYI. Let me make sure I can explain this. So it gets rezoned, but somebody's doing commercial there, so since now they're in city limits, they have to rezone it for commercial. Is that accurate?
Not necessarily, because they were grandfathered in.
So, okay, so they won't have to come in and pay to rezone. There won't be any fees for them to make it match whatever they're doing.
What we would do a rezoning ordinance for in typical ways, if they came to us and said, oh, we want to build a new development.
It's
whatever,
different or new.
It's new and it's a change to that traditional land use as what they've been doing. Then we would trigger a typical rezoning application. But what we're trying to do is, because of the legal descriptions that you have to assemble for every single property, it'd be a very lengthy ordinance, of course. That would take some time to put together. So, but we are intending to make it so that that commercial business owner wouldn't have to come to the city to rezone, because we're going to come back. It's their issues.
It's
Anything that doesn't fit in name. So
only if they change their use afterwards, that they'll have to do it. Otherwise, there will be.
everything will be basically locked in place as the land use is today, or when the annexation is approved, I should say. And we will proceed with rezonings according to that. Or
Anyone else? Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to ordinance 24-24? There is not. Directors? Do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-24 on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Counselor,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Wiles.
Yes.
Hunt.
Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-24, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, City Zoning Map, zoning to A1, property located within the described annexation territory of the city.
Next is ordinance 24-25, first reading, annexation of 1.3 acres, 3201 and 3203 Kenwood Street. Megan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Megan Thomas, Planner 1. As she said, this is an annexation request, the first reading to annex 1.3 acres and as R2 residential medium. The presentation for this was given at the pre-agenda board meeting. Staff's recommending approval, and staff's available for any questions that you may have. Oh, and I haven't received any phone calls or correspondence on this.
Thank you. Directors, comments or questions? No? Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to ordinance 24-25? There being none, directors, still no comments or questions? All right. Do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-25 on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? So moved. We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt. Whistler.
Yes. Motion is approved. Christina?
Ordinance number 24-25, an ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory described as 3201 and 3203 Kenwood Street to the city of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and assigning same to a ward.
Thank you. Next, ordinance 24-26, first reading, vacation of a utility easement, 4295 East Highway 412. Kevin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kevin Moore, City Engineer. This is the first reading for the vacation of a utility easement at the eastern GP Trip location at the intersection of 412 and 59. Staff is recommending approval, and we're available for any questions.
Directors? There being none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to ordinance 24-26? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-26 on its first reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only? We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Long,
Yes.
Wild,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Christina.
Ordinance number 24-26, an ordinance vacating and abandoning sewer easements at 4295 East Highway 412.
Someone else made that motion. I wanted to make sure I didn't make the motion and I seconded it.
I believe, yeah.
I don't think that's possible. I just want to make sure you did it.
All right, so we will move on to our resolutions. Resolution 29-24, final plat development permit for Whispering Oaks Edition, Phase 1A, 300 to 500 block of Oak Crest Road. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. As you recall, this was tabled, I believe, at the last board meeting, talking about the phase 1B of the Spring Oaks edition. And staff still recommending approval. Feel for any questions, and I defer over to Kevin Moore for any further comments.
Thank you, Ben. I will, just for clarification, in your statement there, you said 1B, and this says 1A.
Meant 1A, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin Moore, city engineer. Just to offer a little bit of clarity, I do think there's been some confusion, so I apologize, but the condition is centered around not requiring an amendment to the grading plan, but requiring that a grading plan be implemented. So we have received a revision for the grading plan. We've provided some preliminary comments on that, but staff is still recommending approval with that condition requiring that the grading plan be implemented before a building permit is pulled. And we are available for any questions.
Thank you. Mark?
I am the one that asked to table this, and would like my motion, I'm going to make a motion that we adopt it with the condition that is just stated. But I would like to, because of my delay, I would like, because I asked for a delay, that we do the waive 30-day declared an emergency. That we can vote on that separately, if everyone would like. But I would like to waive the 30 days because I caused an additional.
I think it's a resolution, so therefore there is not the 30-day waiting period. Is that correct, Jim?
Mayor, that's correct.
Letting people know if I caused the problem, I'll help. But this was.
Anyone else? I tabled it, but I appreciate you always taking into consideration the developer, because, and I want to explain, when a board of director requests something to be tabled, we try to give everybody the respect to do the research needed to make an answer that's best for the public. And so that's why sometimes things get tabled.
Thank you. Anyone else? Betsy?
Just so I'm clear, if I vote yes on this, it includes the drainage, the grading. They brought something new to you, and that will be done. Is that correct, Kevin?
That's correct. So the condition requires that a grading plan be implemented. The staff is recommending approval based on that condition being applied to the project.
I have a feeling Ron's going to speak on this, but how is it implemented? Is it implemented by the developer? Is it implemented by the builder? Developer. Okay.
There's no distinction in the condition itself, but it's typically when the site's graded as a whole, it's done by the developer.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this resolution 29-24? There being none, directors, do I have a motion to approve resolution 24-24 with listed conditions?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Yes. Long,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Resolution 24-24 is approved. Thank you. So next is resolution 30-24, setting hearing date for right-of-way vacation, 1019 and 1021 East Main Street. Kevin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kevin Moore, City Engineer. This is for the right-of-way vacation on Main Street, just on the northwest side where Main Street crosses underneath the railroad at Carrie's Paint and Auto. So this is to set the hearing date by ordinance. And staff is requesting that be set for the August 20th meeting for its first reading, and provide the time for newspaper notice as required by law.
Directors, any comments or questions? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to resolution 30-24? There is not. So, directors, do I have a motion to approve resolution 30-24 as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Wiles, Ware,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Resolution 30-24 is approved. With that, we come to our staff reports. So Christina, I will turn that over to you, and then after that, you have the administrative report, so.
Ma'am, so we did decide to come in. We'd like to. We would love to.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Directors. It's great to be here again, as every quarter we have our report. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. But I'd like to go ahead and just kind of highlight some things if I could kind of quickly. In April, we attended the Heritage League annual event entitled Carnival Games. And each year, the Heritage League of Siloam Springs goes ahead and supports a nonprofit in the town with some of the proceeds from their gala. And this year, we were very privileged to be the museum receiving some of those proceeds. So that was a big help to us. We also have the Amazium coming to us a few times a year now. And we had 15 kids that came and learned how to weave different fabrics. The Dogwood Quilters come every year around the Dogwood Festival. And we attend Kids Day at the Farmers Market every month. In May, we joined the Fourth Friday event. That was quite fun. It was quite warm, but it was a great evening and a chance to get the museum out there so people know that we're located just above Cafe on Broadway, Mansell. In June, I started working with the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute of the U of A, and they will be coming for a tour of Siloam Springs in the downtown area in November as part of their curriculum this year. And so we're looking forward to that. I would like to say once again, thanks to Centennial Bank and Harps for sponsoring our Heritage Day this year. We celebrated Siloam Springs. We held it at the museum. And we had a couple collectors of town that you might have seen them on Facebook that have a great collection of historic Siloam Springs things, and people really enjoyed visiting with them and looking at all that. So that was part of the day. We had probably over 30 folks that came in, and we had a video going on of the June 8th, 1974 flood, if anybody might remember that little wet day. And right now that is on our website. You can go to Found in the Archives, and that video is running with some great pictures and comments. We also, my favorite exhibit of that day, and I see Cammie Hebner in the audience, and usually something that happens crazy is going to be related to her. We have a automatic golf cart called the Maynard. It was manufactured by Citation Manufacturing that does pumps and car wash pumps and those kinds of things. And in 1974, they had this great idea of an automatic golf cart. You would put your golf clubs in there. You would wear similar to a beeper, and that golf cart would follow you around the golf course. I don't know if any of you remember seeing that here or knowing that was here. But anyway, through Cammie's help, we found one, and the museum purchased it, and it's a great piece of memorabilia for those folks. Virgil Alexander and son Mark Alexander were part of that, and several other folks were. So, yeah,
It was so unique, it was in the paper.
yeah, and if you just think about the technology in '74, but you get a high school student to figure out how to do it, I'm not sure, so, yeah. We also had a very exciting day. If you haven't seen it, 5 News came out and filmed a segment that they do once a week called Around the Corner. So they were out at the museum June 25th, and it aired on July 5th. So you can view that segment also on our Facebook page. Coming up, though, we will be participating in the next 2 Fourth Fridays. We will also be partnering with the museum up in Gravette for Gravette Day celebration on the 10th of August. September, we will have our Walls Talk. And this year, we're going to focus on the Park House Kitchen area, what's in that and what those buildings have been, including the springs and stuff. There'll be some tours and, of course, some great food from Park House. October 5th is the Homegrown Festival. We'll be participating in that. October 12th is our annual Tap into History, and we're still working on a theme for that. And November 2nd and December 7th, we'll have Kids Day with the Amazium one more time. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to this year, and we thank you for your support very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Mary, but I do want to pass something on to you, this is good. I was in the Walmart and I saw a lady that I knew from Gentry, and she stopped me and she had an out-of-town visitor with her. She wanted to make sure that I knew that they had been to our museum and how impressed they were. And this visitor from out of town actually is kind of a history buff. Enjoys visiting a lot of museums and seeing a lot of exhibits, and they were just very impressed with the job that our museum has done with the exhibits, how it is displayed. So I wanted to let you all know that you're doing a good job, and other people are seeing that and noticing that. So
great, that's the purpose. We like to have people come visit us from all over. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I tell you what, Mary, that thing you talked about, what was it called again? It was almost like a drone of the 70s, like a drone would follow you.
Sure. The Maynard.
Maynard, that's right. It was a big deal because it was so far ahead of its time, and nobody quite understands why it didn't become like the standard for every golf course. And for, for people that wanted to walk and not drive in a car, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And so it was very unique. And if people don't know what we're talking about, go to the museum. It is one of the coolest little things you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so it was one of the coolest inventions you'd see, and it was done all here in Siloam by Citation Manufacturing, and Virgil and Mark Austin.
The biggest hitch is it didn't know whose beeper it was following. So if you and I were golfing, and we would follow you.
You'd have to use somebody else's club. But bugs today,
Yeah.
But hey, we do have a very unique music. And what did Amber Black, who developed the whole wall when you first walk in, it's 3-dimensional and has all the history. As soon as you walk in the door, it's just amazing. And it's one of the most unique entryways you'll find in any museum. So, yeah, good job.
Mary?
Arthur is out of the country at the moment, so he asked me to give just a little update. You have our report, but just wanted to touch on just some of the big things that we did. April feels like a lifetime ago, but we did have the Dogwood Festival in April. Even with we had about 25,000 people over that weekend. We had 2 RFIs in April, 3 in April, 2 that were the same week as Dogwood Festival. So we had a very busy week that week. Arthur has been very involved with the Western Bend County Partnership and helping them. They just received a grant for like $250,000 to help with childcare, so that people can have affordable childcare. We can have more childcare options, and then get people in the county. So we're very excited about that. A large portion of his time has been dedicated to Decatur and the relief efforts that are going on there as well. We have had trainings with Startup Junkie. We've done, he was a speaker at the Food Entrepreneurs Summit in Springdale. We've had trainings with SBA as well as AR Apex, which is an organization through the University of Arkansas that helps small businesses get contracts with the federal government. And so we are now going to be hosting trainings about once a quarter at the chamber to help our small businesses have contracts with the federal government at both the state, local, county level. And then since April, we have done 12 ribbon cuttings as well to celebrate new businesses here in Silver Springs. From an event perspective, we hosted Honor Grad Luncheon in May, which I know many of you guys were able to attend that event. That is a fantastic event that connects our graduating seniors with business leaders in our community. I have had stories I've helped with that event for 9 years, and I've just heard stories of people who actually come back and work for the business that sponsored them. And so it's really great to see our business community support those graduating seniors. We also have helped with the 4th Friday events in May and June, and looking forward to July and August. And then our First Friday coffees continue to grow, continue to be a great place to network, to get to know the other business owners in our community. So I encourage you, if you have not been to those, to come out and join us. Our next one is August 2nd at Whataburger. Upcoming for us, we have 4th Fridays, as I mentioned, and then back to school breakfast, where we celebrate our teachers on August the 8th. And then our Chamber Challenge Golf Tournament is September 13th, which will be at the City Course this year. So that is what we have going on at the Chamber.
Thank you very much.
Lindsay, we have first Friday, and we also have
Friday.
when is 2nd and 3rd Friday?
Yeah, we actually take a break a little bit at some point during the month, but we'll find something else to do.
Some months there's a
Yeah, just come hang out with us. We have coffee.
There you go. Thank you. For those that don't know me, my name is Abby Trinidad, and I am the Events and Marketing Coordinator for Main Street Siloam Springs. And I just wanted to give a few highlights from our second quarter. Main Street Siloam Springs funded the remaining building improvement grant awardees, the Art and Exchange, Cafe on Broadway, Square 6, The Loft, and Nomads. This final process includes acquiring documentation of expenses and getting final approval from Main Street, Arkansas, and most importantly, giving reimbursement back to those businesses who were awarded those grants. In April, a large group of Main Street, Missouri staff and program directors set out on a Main Street expedition where they visited several Main Street programs across the state of Arkansas to collaborate and to be inspired by the work that we are doing here in the state. Main Street Siloam Springs was their first stop, and we were honored to host our neighbors from Missouri at the Brick Ballroom, where we discussed the use of state and federal tax credits
utilized by the Langer family for their renovations and restoration of the Jones General Motors building, also known as the Feimster Building. I then had the pleasure of giving the Missouri directors a walking tour highlighting several of our historic buildings, using information provided by our fantastic partners at the Siloam Springs Museum via the Downtown Then and Now feature of our website. That tour was it was a blast. They thoroughly enjoyed asking questions about that project on our website and just learning some tidbits of our lovely historic buildings and just bits and pieces of our history. In May, our 2024 outdoor farmers market season kicked off in Memorial Park. The Siloam Springs Farmers Market takes place every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. in Memorial Park through October 12th. This year's market has grown. We've added several new daily vendors, several of which include fresh garden veggies. We're seeing an average of 15 to 20 vendors each weekend. Kids Day at the market is still on the second Saturday of each month, teaching our younger generation about healthy eating habits, and encouraging them to shop our market by giving away Pop Club tokens, which is for Power of Produce. This allows them to save up their tokens and then go purchase vegetables and fruits from our market vendors. This past quarter, we also hosted 2 Girls Night Out events. Our first quarter Girls Night Out was postponed due to threat of severe weather, and so we rescheduled that for the second week of April, and it was a garden party, and it went really well. Our second quarter Girls Night Out was held on June 13th and was a pool party, which was fitting as summer was just now heating up. We had over 300 ladies enter to win one of our downtown giveaway baskets. They can enter these giveaways by making purchases and scanning our QR code at participating businesses. This is just one way that we like to encourage shopping and dining at our participating businesses, as it is a promotional event to promote increased sales for that day. We're looking forward to our third quarter September. And then we wrapped up our second quarter with a successful 4th Friday event. Both the May and June 4th Friday events were well attended. We saw our highest vendor count to date in June. We thoroughly enjoy this collaboration with the Siloam Springs Chamber of Commerce and city staff, including Parks and Recreation. This event could not happen without their support as well. Summertime seems like when families need more options and activities of things to do, especially affordable activities for kiddos. So we're looking forward to our final 2 4th Fridays of 2024, which are Art Fest and Back to School Bash. Those are just some of our highlights from our second quarter for Main Street, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Questions for Abby, anyone?
I would just say it's important, I think, when Abby gives tours that she is a hometown girl and grew up here and knows the city. And so when people, especially Main Street from other cities, it's good that you're touring. You know it.
Sometimes I'll dress up like
Just don't be shooting it.
Let's get you a horse.
Yes.
Thank you all very much for those reports.
We used to have the gun fights downtown. Speaking of Bell we did. We used to have reenactments, I guess they call them, of some of the famous people that would be named here, Jesse James and Bell Star. It was a lot of fun back in the day.
Christina.
So there are no expenditures over 30,000 to report. And 4th Friday is on July 26th. This one is themed Art Fest, and there will be shopping, food trucks, a caricaturist, and an art show at the library. The popular Chalk It Up art competition is happening the same day. Chalk winners will be announced while you enjoy live music with the Butler Creek Boys at 6 p.m. and Divas on Fire at 7:30 p.m. I would also like to note that our bulk mulch is half off. A pickup load is $250 if you self-load it and $750 if it's loaded by staff.
Thank you very much. So with that, we will move to our director's report. Mindy, you'll start for us. David, if you will close for us. Mindy, you have the floor.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with a couple of roads that are under construction right now. I know there's been a little bit of buzz on social media about Sager Creek and Lake Francis. And I know there is sort of some push to get those done. I'm just wondering if we have any kind of update. I know we've had some weather issues, and I know that we do have, someone that is trying to give updates on a regular basis. So is there someone here that might be able to give us a little bit more information about what we can expect?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Bruce Paxton, Community Development Director. I have been working with Kevin, the city engineer, and we are expected to provide an update that will likely go out to the public through the communications department. So that should be going out within the next few days. I can get an update on that and make sure that the board all has.
Okay, I do appreciate all the work that staff is doing on that, especially in these hot days. And I know that the rainy days delay everything, but I also know that, you know, once people start talking on social media, we want to make sure that they get the answers that they want. I want to thank everybody that was involved in the July 4th celebration. Our first attempt at doing something much bigger this year, and I think those who were able to attend really enjoyed it. I know we had some challenges with the weather. We learned a lot that night about what to do next year, what to do the same, what to do differently maybe, but overall, I think everybody that was there really enjoyed it. So I appreciate all the hard work that was done for that. And also, I appreciate all the work that everybody who is involved in Fourth Friday does for the Fourth Friday events. I think it was probably a good idea to cut back a little bit this year because I know it is a lot of work, and I know that the heat is always a challenge. It seems like whatever day, our Fourth Friday seems to be the hottest day of every month. But you guys persevered, and I just appreciate all you've done. I know families that really enjoy activities. Really excited about the Butler Creek Boys. I had the opportunity to see them not too long ago. Probably everybody else in the room has already seen them several times, but they're just good singers and just good guys too. So that'll be fun. And I don't know the other group, but I'm sure they're just as good. So thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Ken?
Not to repeat myself too much, but of course we all know what happened over the weekend. It's a very sad thing. We talk a lot about the political process and how it works best when everybody is involved. Just need to keep those that were touched by that specifically in our prayers. I was thinking about the father or the gentleman who was protecting his family that lost his life. And so that sometimes we don't think about even the shooter. You know, his family now has questions that may never be answered as to why and how that could have happened. And it really taints the political process. And that's a sad thing in and of itself too. But that would go on in this country at this time, it's just almost incomprehensible to me because, like I said earlier, it's great that we agree to disagree and have discussion, but our intent is all come out at the same spot where we are doing what is best for whether it's here for the citizens in the city or at the state level for what is best for the state, and it just works its way up. And so I guess that's a lot of words just to say, just remember those that were affected by that. Another thing I just wanted to say quickly, yes, this is our first meeting since, our first regular meeting since the fireworks display. And yes, there were some issues, but if you were there early, I don't know how you could not have had fun with what was going on. The complaints that I had heard, there was one, and I hate to single this one out, but it was that they left their house 10 minutes before 9 to get over here to watch the fireworks, and it had already been done. Well, that's kind of the problem right there. If you're not leaving your house until 10 minutes before, you know, I know a lot of people think, well, we'll just pull off to the side of the road and watch, and it happens. And I go, Chief, that's a headache for you guys, but it was fun. I got to go and help, and it was a blast. And so for those that might have some criticisms, you know, you could always volunteer. You can always work to help make it better. I don't think anybody would turn you away. And then lastly, if you haven't noticed, it's kind of hot outside. And in driving around a lot, I see our employees, the street department, you know, those guys in electrical, parks, mowing and things, just out there, and it has got to be tough. So first, thank you guys, in whatever capacity you are out there doing things, because I know for a fact that it's noticed, because I hear comments. One in particular here, oh, it's been 2 weeks maybe. Parks Department cleared up over here in the park. One of the they went down into where one of the springs was and cleaned it up, and they, you know, played with the snakes for a while before they got them out of there. And it was just a job, and it was an all-day job. They didn't complain, and yet there were people who, as they were cleaning up, walking by, commenting on how nice things looked. And you know, if I could, I'd go around driving the truck and handing out ice cream or water, but I didn't do that. But just, you know, just think of the guys. If you get a chance to thank them, please do, because I know that means a lot to them. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ken. Betsy?
Actually, I have condescended. They're drinks. Except I had to chase them down because as soon as I got back, they were shut down. But I think they do a great job, and it's miserable. Just a couple things. This Friday, which is the third Friday of the month, so David will have something on the third Friday. The Catholic Church, Hope's Kitchen, gives out free meals to those in need. So it's the third Friday from 11 to 1 over on 412. So if anybody is in need, they do that every third Friday of the month at the Catholic Church. And then at the Adult Development Center, I know their air conditioner went out in the break room, and I know that Grand Savings Bank gave a big donation, which was wonderful. I didn't know if that was enough to cover it. Do you have any idea?
I do not.
Okay, so keep the Adult Development Center in mind. They do a lot for our community, and they are always in need. So if you're able, you might consider donating. I think on their Facebook page, you can figure out how to donate or just stop by. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Lisa?
I just have two quick things. First of all, is there any way staff can consider, I know we discussed in depth at the pre-agenda items that are on our agenda, but a lot of times, like I said earlier, and I referenced it, that I get a lot of comments from the public, and I even get them from people that sit in this room at every single board meeting that say, I work, I can't go to the pre-agenda, and I don't have time to watch your hour and a half, 2-hour meetings. It would be nice if you would just give a quick summary of the agenda item instead of us just voting on it and they don't even know what we're talking about. So you can see, a lot of times I'll be like, just for the audience purpose, I'm saying this or I'm doing this or I'm asking this. And I'm just asking you to take it into consideration.
Yes.
I did want to just point out, you may have noticed whenever I gave my presentation today, I gave a little bit more of a summary than usual. That was at the request of some of the planning commissioners, so I think that there is a desire for that. But that was a format that I was testing out tonight. I don't know if you have noticed that I provided additional information a little bit more than we usually do at that point for a second reading. But me and my staff have been talking about that, and we will be having that conversation with the city administrator.
That's why you'll see me a lot say, I know we said this in pre-agenda, but I'm gonna say it here, and that's the reason why, is because, and I'm having more and more people say it. And so it is a desire of the community. The second thing is we're doing Constitution Camp August 1st. Pretty excited about it. It's teaching our young youth about being civic leaders in the future and how the Constitution affects their daily lives. And the first day, August 1st, is an all-day camp from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at New Life Church. You can register at www.constitutioncampnwa.com. The second day is here at City Hall. They are hosting us to show us everything we learned about camp. How does that work in government? And so they come here for 3 hours on Friday, and they're going to be touring the buildings. They're going to see how it works. And then on August 6th, they are going to come to the board of directors meeting. Judy has allowed them to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. They will say the preamble because they learned the preamble. My daughter learned it at 6. So I know these kids can learn this and memorize it. They learn about the Bill of Rights. And then they will present a resolution, and it's not going to be a real resolution. So if you hear it, don't think it's a real resolution. It's just teaching the kids how to present a resolution, and they will present it to Judy. So, and then all the campers will sign this big copy of this resolution that'll be framed and presented to Judy. So it's showing them how it works. They will also vote on the resolution that we present. When they go in, they're going to be given an ID, just like a driver's license, like you have a driver's license. And when they go to vote, they have to they go to the table and present their little ID, like you have to present your driver's license. And then they get to vote. And they get to see how that vote affects them. And so it's a very interactive camp. So again, if you want to register your kids, it's www.constitutioncampnwa.com, and it's free this year. We have a sponsor paying for this. Appreciate that.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be great. Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do want to give a shout out to all those that did help in the July 4 celebration. We did have a little bit of hiccup with weather, but I think it was still very well celebrated and a chance to even do better next year. One of the things I want to point out, tonight we heard from the museum, Main Street, the Chamber, but it's always very interesting to me as you ladies talk about that, how much you collaborate one with another. Separate entities, but working together, and that's a sign of a healthy community, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You read? Mark?
No.
David?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also want to echo what Reed said. It's good to see the collaboration of the three groups that provide so much to our citizens. And tonight, the top 2 lieutenants were here, and I think did a great job. Lindsay and Abby, I just think you did a great job. I think you ought to be here every meeting. And, Mary always is. We appreciate all that the 3 of your organizations do for the city, and we appreciate you updating the board as to what's gone on and what is coming up. We appreciate it a lot. I'm going to say that the block party on July 4th was a tremendous success. I don't think anyone can argue that. There was lots of activity, topped off by a big fireworks show. And I want to say thank you to all the staff, but especially Jason Davis, who, when he was told that we were going to do the same old fireworks we've done, he said, no, we are not. And come to find out, we have had a long-term contract to do the same fireworks every year for the same amount of money that had been signed by the previous administration. And every year we say we want something bigger, but we were locked in currently. So I appreciate Jason Davis saying, we're gonna make a change, and it was better. And, we appreciate staff putting all the work, because that was a very hot, and I mean, you could see the pictures, people were dripping wet. But, and it wasn't just from, it was before the rain started, they were dripping wet from the heat. But, we had said over the years, we want something bigger, and when we have small cities like Gentry say, you know, everybody, well, theirs is better. Well, we need to be better. So this is the goal. And so we appreciate staff doing that, all that they did. I gotta tell you, on Betsy, what you brought up a couple times, that people are reporting our meetings are not watchable. I've seen it when I've watched the meetings afterwards. There are jumps in the video and audio. So the point of us spending $150,000 for new boardroom equipment was to update and allow people to see better than the old 480p video that we had before, which, just to let everybody know, 480p is like VHS tape. And so we updated everything, and I'm gonna state right now, I desire to see this problem resolved as soon as possible. It's gone on for far too long. And I'm not sure, I watch it on YouTube, I'm not sure whether you're hearing from people who are watching it on Cox or what. So I don't know, if there's a problem there as well. But I really am just asking, can we not get this solved once and for all? Because this is really the only way many citizens keep up with what goes on in our city government. And so we need this to be fixed. And then lastly, thank you, Ken, for your comments and bringing up what you have. I just want us all to keep working, to keep America great, keep Arkansas great, and keep Siloam Springs great. And with that, Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna have waited for the paper belt.